So today we're going to be doing the retest for the data test 9 through 16. If you lost your test or no longer have your test, remember you could still do this reteach, except that now you have to work on all the questions. So you still have to separate it between two columns. Side, you have all the work and your answer, correct answer, and on the other side, explain what you did wrong or explain what helped you from this question as you were working through in case you don't have your test. So let's go ahead and get started with number 9. Make sure that you have on one. So for number 9, it says the dot plot shows the height of the players on two basketball teams. Which statement is best supported by this data? So basically, you need to look at how many points there are. So if you count how many points there is 25 points here. So basically what that means is that they actually surveyed or measured 25 players. And for Team B, there is 20 players. So now that we know that information, then we could go ahead and look at this. It says that for letter A, it says the distribution of the data for Team A and Team B are approximately symmetrical. Well, symmetrical means that if you actually divide this in two, then it's going to look the same on one side and the other. So in this case, it's not symmetrical. It's not even close to being symmetrical, so that statement will be false. For B, it says the median height of the players on Team B is less than the median height of the players on Team A. So Team B, if you kind of look at it, we're going to count to 10, and it's between 10 and 11. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's between 79 and 80. So Team B is going to be 79.5. If in Team A, it's going to be the 13th dot. So we're going to go ahead and do, because half of 25 is 12.5. So it'll be 13. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So for Team A, the medium is going to be 78. So in this case, 79.5 is not less than, is more than 78. So letter B is false. Let's look at C. Team B has a greater range in players' heights than Team A. So let's go ahead and look at the range. So the range for Team B is 84 minus 72. So that's going to give us 12. So this is going to be 12. And then 83 minus 72 is going to give us 11. So let's read what it says. So Team B, which is 12, has a greater range in player height than Team A. That is true. And then let's look at the last one. The mode height of players on Team B, so the mode would be 80 on Team B, is less than the mode height of the players on Team A. So the mode height is 79. So we know 80 is not less than 79, so that's false. So my answer is letter C. So the problem with these is that some students don't like to go through each and every question, but in order for you to get this correctly, you have to go through the questions, through the answer choices, and pick which one's true. So go ahead and show what you did wrong if you have your test. If you don't have your test, then what you could do or what you think you wouldn't have done in order to get this correct. Okay, number 10 says, Waldo and Freddie caught fish one weekend. The dot plot shows the length of fish they caught. So what we're going to do, where it says which statement about the length of the fish caught by Waldo and Freddie is not true. Now that's important. So what I usually do, I'll read the question, but then don't take into consideration if they're asking us for true or false questions. Then I go ahead and do the answer choices and then figure out and go back to the question. So for letter A, says the data for Waldo's fish and the data for Freddie's fish are skewed to the left. Well, if you look at the data, and you see that, so for Waldo, it's skewed to the left. And that would be true. They're both skewed to the left. Okay, for letter B, the median length of the fish caught by Waldo is greater than the median length of the fish caught by Freddie. So the median, we need to look for what that is. So if you look at the Waldo's fish, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there's 17 fish in Freddy's. So that means half of 17 is 8.5. So we're picking the ninth one. So it's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 20. So the median for Waldo's is 20. And then let's look at Freddy's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So number between 8 and 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the median for Freddy's fish is 20. And, I believe this was 19. Okay, so now that we have the median for both of them, so 19 is not greater than 20, so that means this is false. So let's go on to letter C. The range of the length of the fish caught by Freddie is the same as the range of the length of the fish caught by Waldo. So let's look at the range. So you have 21 minus 15, so that's 6. So here's 6 for, that's Freddy's. Hold on. Here is 6 for Waldo. And then you have 22 minus 16. So that's going to be 6. So Freddy's is 6. So if they're not, it's the same. So it's not less or anything. So if they're the same, that means this is true. And then the last one, the mode length of the fish caught by Waldo. So Waldo's mode is 19, is less than the mode length of the fish caught by Freddy's, and the mode is 21. So it is less than, so that's true. So because it's saying not true, my answer is letter B. So it kind of gets confusing as you're looking through. I was a little confused when I was doing this, but when you go back and read not true, then that will help you out. So again, go ahead and write in what you could have done. Okay, number 11. Merlin says the number of pets per household for Mrs. Anderson's class and Mrs. Murphy's class are shown on the data, on the dot plots. So the question is, which of these statements appear to be true? So let's go ahead and look at that. We count each of those points. So I know Mrs. Anderson's class had 30 students, and Miss Murphy's class had 33 students. So it says the range of the number of pets per household for Mrs. Murphy's class is greater than the range of the number of pets per household for Mrs. Anderson. So Murphy's, let's look at Murphy's range. So that's 6 minus 0 is 6, so Murphy's is 6. And 5 minus 0 is 5, so it's 5. And it's saying 6 is greater than 5. That is true. Okay, let's look at the next one. The distribution of data is approximately symmetrical to both sets of data. Well, again, symmetrical means that they're the same on each side. And if you notice, this is not even symmetrical. This is skewed. Both of them are skewed, right? So that would be false. And then the last one, the mode of the number of pets per household for Mr. Anderson's class is equal to the mode of the number of pets per household for Mrs. Murphy's class. So the mode here is 1, and the mode here is also 1. So if it says it's the same, so then that's true. So my answer should be 1 and 3. So that's letter B. Again, make sure you go back and correct your answers or write down what you could have done better. Okay, on this next one, number 12 says, what is the mean of pets per household for Mrs. Anderson class? So you were supposed to use the dot plot from number 11, then record your answer in the bubble sheet. So basically what we're going to do, because we are going to add them all up, we are going to go ahead and find out how much that is. So I know 0 times 5 is 0. I have 11 times 1 is 11. I have 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. And 2 times 5 is 10. So now that we have all that information, we're going to add them up. So 11 plus 12 plus 9 plus 12 plus 10. So 9 plus 5 is 14. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 54. Okay, and we know that there were 30 students in this class, so 54 divided by 30. So we know it's going to be a decimal. So let's go ahead and do 54 divided by 30. 30 into 54 is 1 time, so that's 30. Remainder is 24. Add a decimal and a 0, bring it down. So 30 into 240 is 8. So that's 240. So my answer will be 1.8. So again, remember when they're asking for the mean, you're adding everything up and dividing it by how many numbers you added. In this case, there were 30. The total was 54, and you just divided. Make sure you write down what you could have done better or why you think you could have gotten it wrong if you don't have your test. Okay, number 13. Mrs. Kelso and Mr. Bonham gave each of their students a small bag of colored tiles, and the students each counted the number of purple tiles they received. So here they're talking about, they did a box plot for those two classes. Which statement is best supported by the information in the box plot? So the range of the data for Mr. Bohem's class is less than the range of the data for Mrs. Kelso's. So the data for Mr. Bohem is 16 minus 6, so that's 10. And then for Mrs. Kelso is 17 minus 5, and that's 12. So the range 10 is less than 12, so that would be true. Okay, let's look at letter B. Letter B says the data for Mrs. Kelso's class are more symmetrical than the data for Mr. Bohem's class. Well, if you look at it, symmetrical means that they're almost the same. Yes, Bohem's class is more symmetrical than Kelso's, so then that's going to be false. For letter C, the median number of the data for Mr. Bohem's class is less than the median number of data for Mrs. Kelso. So Mr. Bohem's class is 11. Mrs. Kelso's class is 10. So it's 11 less than 10? Nope, so that will be false. And the interquartile range of Mrs. Kelso's class is greater than the interquartile range of Mr. Bohem. So Mrs. Kelso is going to be, so 11, 12, 13 minus 8, and that's going to be 5. And Mr. Bohem is 14 minus 6, and that's going to be 8. So is 5 greater than 8? No, so then that means this is false. So my answer is letter A. Again, make sure you are showing what you did wrong and what you could do to get a better grade on this test. Number 14. The box plots show data about the number of years that farm workers have been employed at each two farms. Which statement is best supported by the information on the box plot? So let's look at this. So the range of the data for farm Y is equal to the range of the data of farm X. Well, let's look at it. So farm Y is 30 minus 5, so that's 25. And farm X is 35 minus 4, so that's 31. So 25 is equal to 31? No, that's false. So let's go ahead and go to letter B. The third quartile of the data for farm Y is less than the third quartile of data for farm X. So farm Y is 27 and farm X is 24. So that is going to be false also, because this is a third quartile, that's the fourth one, so that's going to be incorrect. For letter C, the median of the data for farm Y is greater than the median of the data for farm X. So the median for farm Y is 18. The median for farm X is 17. So 18 is greater than 17, so that is true. And that's possibly your answer. So let's make sure by looking at letter D. The first quartile of the data for farm Y, that's 12, is greater than the first quartile of the data for farm X. So that's 15. So is 12 greater than 15? No, that's false. So yes, your answer is letter C. Again, make sure you are writing what you relearned, you forgot something, or what you could have improved in order to get this correct. Jonah randomly surveyed some of his peers on his football team and his nutrition class to learn how many times each member ate fast food during the past week. The double box plot showed below the results of both groups. So let's go ahead and see which of the following statement can be verified using the double box plot. So the person that eats the most fast food is a football player. Well, if you look at that, football players seems to eat less, because all the numbers are on the lesser part of your line graph. So if you look at it, it's a lot less than what the nutrition group has. So that would be false. Okay, I'm going to erase this just to make it better. Let's see. For letter B, 75% of the nutrition class ate fast food 4 or more times in the past week. So nutrition class, if you look at 75%, your 75% mark is right here. So it says ate fast food 4 or more times. So because it says 4 or more times, it does look like it's 75% of that. So 4 or more, if you look at it, so I was looking at the first part, but they're asking for 4 or more. So here's 4, and this is what they're looking at. So if you look at it, it is 75%. So that would be true. Okay, let's look at letter C. It says the peers in the nutrition class eat less fast food than the football player. Well, the person that eats the most fast food, well, it says on A is false. So the peers, it looks like they eat less. It seems like the football players eat less. So that's why we're going to go ahead and put this as false, because football players eat less fast food than nutrition class. And letter D says 50% of the football class ate fast food 2 or more times in the past week. Well, 2 or more times, here's 2, and you're looking at this. Well, that's not 50%, that's actually 75%. So in this case, this is false. So my answer is letter B. Remember, each section of a box plot is 25%. So if they're asking you for 75% or 50% or 25%, you should be able to see it just by each of those 4 sections, and that will give you the correct answer. So again, make sure you are writing why you got it wrong or what you think you could have done better. Okay, so here's the last one. It says, which statement is true about the double box plot below? So let's look at, it says, exactly half of the test scores in class number 1 are between 85 and 50. Well, half of the test scores, so group 1, class 1, this is 85 and 100. Well, this is not really half. This is 75%, which is also 3/4. So this is going to be false. Okay, for B, 25% of the test scores in class 2 are 80 or below. Well, 80 or below. So this is what we're considering. So 80 or below, it's 25%. Well, basically, that's 50%, not 25%. So that's going to be false. The medians are both the same on both classes. Well, if they were both the same, then those two would be aligned, so that's false. And then letter D, the test scores in class number 2 are more spread out than the test scores in class number 1. Well, yes, you could do that because if you look, 100's here, but class 1 is in the 67, 68 mark, and class 2 starts in the 60% mark. So in this case, this is true, so my answer is letter D. So, okay, guys, now is the time to go ahead and do the retest. You do improve your grade just by doing these corrections, but you do need to turn in your test corrections and your retest together. If you turn in one and not the other, then you will not get credit. So make sure you're turning them both in. And this applies to yesterday's Reteach session, so make sure that you're doing both. I've been grading them, and I got a lot of reteach notes, but not a retest. So make sure you're doing both in order to get credit. So good luck on this next one, and tomorrow we'll be going over the simple interest and net worth reteach. So get going and start improving your grade.